Daily Wire layoffs, which began, I am told, on Thursday, actually continued through Friday. There's some indication they may actually be continuing through today. And it was an absolute bloodbath. Do not allow them to spin it. Okay, I'm talking entire departments, big people at the firm, lawyers at the firm, the chief operating officer, the executive vice president, virtually the entire marketing department, the production team has now been reduced to a mere skeleton crew. No one was safe. Not even Ben's team was safe.
It goes without saying that Ben Shapiro has absolutely cratered in viewership and subscribers and followers over the past several years. I mean, you can look at the publicly available data. If you don't believe me, here is the statistics of his various accounts and channels on Social Blade. You can see just how much of a decline there has been. This is on his main channel. I believe this is on the Ben Shapiro show. So yes, this is his main channel. And I mean, you can see here that not only has he had a decrease in followers over the years, but there has literally been such a decrease, such a fall off, such a collapse that it's actually moved into the negatives. So we're talking about, in a specific month, negative 30,000 followers. Most people, when they start a social media account, when they start doing any social media work, they'll be lucky if they hit 30,000 subscribers at any point in their careers. He's losing that an entire month. And that's just on one channel. That's not cumulative between Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, so on and so forth, YouTube, everything, right? Monthly gain views also have dramatically fallen off. I mean, between December, November of 2025, he only got 20 million, 18 million views in the entire month. But previously, he was hitting 177 million views, 150 million views. I mean, he has really cratered. It's like an understatement to even use that word. It's like the Grand Canyon. It's the Huajiang Grand Gorge up in here. What's going on with this program? And that's not all. Of course, we have to look at the Daily Wire, which is also just siphoning out viewers and subscribers. This one actually was much quicker. The Daily Wire went down faster and harder. And they were, again, negative 10,000, negative 10,000, negative 10,000, negative 10,000. Like every single month practically is negative 10,000 views. It's impressive. It's impressive to say the least. And here's one more for you. This is from, what is this? This is Ben Shapiro, I believe, on TikTok. Yeah, that hasn't gone well either. He was getting at one point, 15 million likes per month. Back in February of 2024. And now we've, cratered off to about 300,000, 100,000, 200,000 likes per month and no new followers, when previously he was getting 300,000 followers in the month of February 2024. So it is a red alert for the Daily Wire. It is a red alert for the Ben Shapiro show. And now he's running into some other issues, which I'd like to dive into, and to be expected, right? Candace had hinted about this in the past, that being, of course, that with the decline of viewers, you're going to have a decline in revenue. And with a large company like the Daily Wire, which is literally producing movies and TV shows and cartoons, books, like whatever they're doing over there, who knows that the Daily Wire, no one is watching it. They have to pay for that somehow. They pay for it via their advertisers, but their advertisers are getting monthly reports on the views. The views go down, they're not going to pay as much. And now we are in a financial free fall. Take a listen. Sorry.
A conservative media giant is looking a lot less giant. What happened to the Daily Wire? Behind the big name polished videos, the confident headlines, there were growing signs of real trouble there. Subscribers dropping, layoffs hitting, and questions swirling about whether or not the brand has lost its core audience. Remember the exit of Candace Owens, whose departure and public criticism does appear to have taken a big part of the audience with her. That was following the October 7th attacks, which seemed to launch the network shift from what some people thought was America First to excessive warmongering. And then just days ago, reports that failing mega network has made massive layoffs. We're talking about up to 60% of employees have been fired. An absolute bloodbath, as Candace Owens rightly put it. But there is more here. Add unconfirmed but somewhat loud online speculation involving USAID, and the cracks really start to show here. But it wasn't until around the time that Doge led to the ending of USAID funding that the Daily Wire really started to plummet in viewership, because that's when things started to fall apart. Ben Shapiro's show has been in a free fall over the past.
USAID, were they funding like Indian bots to watch the Ben Shapiro show to inflate his number? I mean, I'm not saying that's what was going on, but these are real questions that actually need to be asked and answered at this point, because it is a weird timing. It's weird that, you know, I'd love to get in there and see the analytics of that channel, see where the views are coming from, see where the countries of origin of these supposed viewers of the Ben Shapiro show. I mean, I'd have to imagine it's like Tel Aviv and New Delhi. Tel Aviv, New Delhi, Nigeria, Islamabad. I'd have to imagine.
Year or so in terms of viewership and engagement, while voices like Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens continue surging. And with this new possible revelation of funding, how much longer can the mega network sustain itself? You see, in this current era, the battle lines are not drawn between liberals and conservatives. The real battle is being fought on X and other social media platforms right now between those who are America first and those who are Israel first.
Okay, I agree with that fully. Good job, Ben Swan. Now we're going to hear Candace do a proper breakdown of the financial crisis of Ben Shapiro and the Daily Wire.
It was oddly demonic, unlike anything we've ever seen. The president of the United States posting photos of my ugly mug. Why? Why? I think I look kind of cute, actually, in that photo. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I would have smiled, ladies and gentlemen, if I had known that one day the Prezi was going to post it. I would have smiled a little bit, so maybe smirched in the photo like this under that bandana. Now, publicly, everyone knows that also Laura Loomer has been stalking me, but I've been telling you guys, my real stalker in life is Ben Shapiro, okay? Since the day that I was fired from the Daily Wire, he has not stopped trying to bankrupt my family. It is almost comical at this point. We've learned to just laugh at it. It never goes away. We were laughing at the fact that he's just kind of allowed to pretend to be this normal public figure, but he's low-key a deranged stalker. And like he just sort of hides behind it, tries to dignify the stalking through legal filings. It's like, oh no, it's fine that we sent an intern to follow her at her event after we followed her. That was after we fired her. That was our right. It's fine if we keep just using legal abuse as a strategy. And I mean, for every little infraction, like they were monitoring my likes. Back when you could see likes on X, I was facing serious lawsuits over, you liked this tweet and it was a bit disparaging to us.
That's crazy.
Stalker, just full blown stalker vibes. It all made sense though. It all made sense when phone calls started coming in. Email started coming in regarding the Daily Wire layoffs, which began, I am told, on Thursday, actually continued through Friday. There's some indication they may actually be continuing through today. And it was an absolute bloodbath. Do not allow them to spin it. Okay, I'm talking entire departments, big people at the firm, lawyers at the firm.
And you know what's going to happen, right? You know what's going to happen. With these layoffs, there is going to be a lot of chit-chat, a lot of talking, a lot of anonymous sources quoted in the New York Times about the business practices of the Daily Wire. Oh, you wait. It happened at TPUSA. After Charlie was shot, Erica takes over. They realized that, a lot of people have questions about what happened. They didn't even need to fire anyone. They got more money than they know what to do with. They got raked in like $250 million in a couple weeks or something. $500 million in total. I mean, they do not need to fire anyone, but they did just because they're paranoid. Appropriately so. And immediately people started talking. They're like, fucking NDA. I'm going to tell you what's going on in here. Right? I'm going to tell you what's going on here within the legal parameters that we have set. And I can say a lot. I can say a lot, even with the parameters in place, and that they did.
The chief operating officer, the executive vice president, virtually the entire marketing department, the production team has now been reduced to a mere skeleton crew. No one was safe. Not even Ben's team was safe, marked safe from it. Even a director on his team was fired. It was brutal. I have counted approximately 54 people who lost their jobs from top to bottom. And that's just in this wave, because this has been going on, as we all know, for a while. The writing has been on the wall for a while. It has been very strange, the worst kept secret in media, as they keep writing, having people publish these articles that just defy reality. We were having private conversations like, how long can they keep up this charade and keep pretending that this is not happening when everyone can see the numbers? We can see how the public is responding. It's very strange to just sort of live in a delusion. We knew that they had brought in private equity some time ago in the last 2 years. I used to work in private equity in these particular types of situations, so I knew what the implications were of bringing in private equity, especially if it's a distressed debt situation. The usual term, as it was at the company that I worked at many moons ago, is 2 years. They'll inject cash into your company. They'll float you for about 2 years as you attempt to turn things around.
He's going to need more than 2 years of injection. That's for sure. And I guess the grand strategy is to like take over Candace's old accounts and try to mock her, and that will somehow sustain the company and sustain viewership, which will sustain advertisers. Bad idea. Bad idea. Bad idea. I mean, look, they could have done literally anything at the Daily Wire. They could have taken the approach of going full Piers Morgan, right? And just kind of removing themselves from the, I guess, the ideological front to a certain extent. They have plenty of shows where they could express their opinions, right? But Ben Shapiro could have gone Piers Morgan and been like, you know what? I'm hearing a lot of criticism. We're getting a lot of unsubscriptions. And maybe we should just host people to have dialogue and debate, right? For the clickbait, for the drama. And in doing so, they would have skyrocketed in viewers because, it would have been a train wreck. But who would not have turned in? I mean, I probably would have watched clips. If Ben Shapiro tried to act like Piers Morgan and then he's like crashing out as people are just saying simple facts, like it would be funny. His show right now is not even entertaining or funny. It's just sad. He's just whining like a bitch all day. It's not entertaining. It's depressing, kind of.
You fire some people, you restructure a little bit, but you're kind of walking the plank, right? Maybe you fix it, but if you don't, they're gonna sell that company, and they're gonna own a huge chunk of that company that they sell. Now, I can't assert that is definitively what the deal terms were for the Daily Wire, but I can say that we're just about now over 2 years. Just over 2 years removed from my firing, and the Daily Wire has obviously not turned the company around. In fact, I would say they've just kind of cranked up the crazy, almost like they were trying to catalyze their own demise. And so, yes, it was announced on Friday that the mass layoffs took place, for which they offered this excuse to Barrett Media. I think Barrett Media was among the first to report the story. It reads, quote, "Today, the Daily Wire made a difficult decision to restructure the organization, which included layoffs to a number of teams. We are deeply grateful to those impacted. Their contributions were instrumental in building the Daily Wire into what it is today. The cuts were largely concentrated at our Nashville production office as the company has invested in new formats, locations, and production models. Our footprint there has evolved. Over the last year, we have added production staff in DC, the Northeast, and Florida. This step allows us to focus our resources on an ambitious slate of new entertainment projects they're set to release this year. Additionally, we will continue to invest our editorial team in investigative journalism, where we have already added numerous new reporters across the country and established a DC bureau with a seat in the White House briefing room." That's a lot of words to really say nothing. Okay, it's not good what's happening there. Everyone feels it. People that are left certainly feel it. Okay. First, they shuttered Benke Kids, which was obviously massive layoffs that were done. Then they quietly got rid of their sports department. That was the Crane & Company show that they were running. Now they're firing over 50 people in a span of 24 hours, and they're claiming it's just restructuring. People in DC also got fired. So it's not because they're suddenly pivoting and building in DC. So as they attempt to spin this into something else, the broader question is what actually happened to the company? How could it happen so quickly, more importantly? Because make no mistake, this is like the equivalent of Enron, right? It's a virtual overnight collapse. In 2023, they were arguably one of the most promising companies, conservative media companies, certainly in the game. They were at the top of their game. Everyone was clamoring to work with them, to do projects with them. And now we fast forward to 2026, and generally speaking, again, I'm speaking generally, everyone hates the Daily Wire.
And we'll just wrap it there for this story. Isn't it crazy Ben Shapiro, he really thought he was going to be the heir to the Charlie Kirk legacy. He thought he was going to be the heir to the Charlie Kirk legacy, and now his company is in free fall. Ben Shapiro, I mean, the craziest thing about Ben Shapiro is, how is it possible that Ben Shapiro, whose company's in free fall, and they have an Enron-like mass exodus being forced upon the workers because of the collapse of viewership, at its core is what it is. How is it that someone like that has so much influence in the White House? How is it that someone like Mark Levin, who I don't know anyone who's ever mentioned Mark Levin to me in my entire life other than to dunk on him for the crazy things that he espouses on his show, which only get watched because people clip it and they're like, oh my God, that's crazy. Why would he say that we should go and try to overthrow a government of 90 million people in the Middle East again? Right? Why does Mark Levin have so much influence in the White House? Why does Laura Loomer, who runs a Rumble show, she doesn't even have YouTube. She's not even popular on Twitter. She has a Rumble show, again, that no one watches. And you're telling me these are like the three most influential people in media at the White House? The President of the United States? I got big questions about where that investor money, that injection of however many millions of dollars, got big questions about whose pockets that cash is ending up in. Before you leave, I want to say thank you for the support, because after 2 years of being banned, we are finally back home on YouTube. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and also join as a member on our channel using the link at the top of the description. I rely on the generous support of viewers like yourself to get the truth out to as many people as possible. You can also support the show on Locals or Give Sin Go. The mainstream media and the powers that be are never going to stop attacking us for bringing the truth to as many people as we do. Thank you so much for your support.